The French Revolution stands as one of history's most pivotal moments, a transformation that would forever alter the course of human civilization. In the late 18th century, France was a powder keg of social tension, economic crisis, and political upheaval, all waiting for a spark to ignite a revolution that would shake the foundations of Europe and beyond. Let's begin by understanding the France of 1789. Picture a nation divided into three distinct estates: the clergy, the nobility, and everyone else. The first two estates, comprising just 2% of the population, owned nearly 40% of the land and paid virtually no taxes. Meanwhile, the third estate, the common people, shouldered the burden of financing the extravagant lifestyle of the struggling to put bread on their own tables. The situation was particularly dire in the countryside, where peasants faced crushing taxes, the taille to the state, the tithe to the church, and feudal dues to their local lords. Urban workers weren't faring much better, with bread prices soaring to nearly a day's wages. The government, led by King Louis XVI, was essentially bankrupt, having spent enormous sums supporting the American Revolution and maintaining its lavish court at Versailles. Louis XVI himself presents an interesting figure in this drama. Unlike the tyrannical image often portrayed, he was more incompetent than malicious. A man who preferred tinkering with locks to governing, he inherited a system that was already broken. His wife Marie Antoinette became a lightning rod for public hatred. While she likely never said "let them eat cake," her reputation for extravagance and foreign birth made her an easy target for revolutionary propaganda. The intellectual foundation for revolution had been laid by the Enlightenment philosophers. Voltaire's criticism of the Catholic Church, Rousseau's concepts of popular sovereignty, and Montesquieu's ideas about separation of powers created a framework for questioning traditional authority. These ideas spread through salons, coffee houses, and pamphlets, creating an educated class that began to demand political participation. The immediate trigger came in 1789, when Louis XVI called the Estates General, France's ancient parliament, to address the financial crisis. It hadn't met in 175 years, and when it did, the Third Estate, representing 98% of the population, found itself outvoted by the privileged estates. In response, they declared themselves the National Assembly and took the famous tennis court oath, vowing not to disperse until France had a constitution. The revolution's most iconic moment came on July 14, 1789, with the storming of the Bastille prison. While only 7 prisoners were actually freed, the symbolic impact was enormous. This medieval fortress, representing royal authority, fell to ordinary citizens armed with determination and a few stolen cannons. The event became a powerful symbol of popular sovereignty triumphing over absolutism. What followed was a cascade of reforms. The August Decrees abolished feudal privileges. The Declaration of the Rights of Man and of the Citizen proclaimed fundamental rights and equality before the law. The civil constitution of the clergy nationalized the Catholic Church. France was being remade from top to bottom, and the pace of change was dizzying. But revolution, like Saturn, often devours its children. As external threats mounted and internal divisions deepened, the revolution entered its most radical phase. The monarchy was abolished, and Louis XVI, now simply Citizen Louis Capet, was executed in January 1793. The Republic was proclaimed, but it would be a republic built on fear and suspicion. Enter Maximilien Robespierre and the Committee of Public Safety. Convinced that virtue needed terror to triumph, they launched the infamous Reign of Terror. The guillotine became the revolution's most potent symbol, claiming an estimated 17,000 lives. No one was safe: nobles, priests, ordinary citizens, and eventually the revolutionaries themselves fell victim to the blade. Robespierre himself would meet the same fate as his victims, marking the end of the terror, but not the revolution's impact. The Directory that followed proved weak and corrupt, creating the perfect conditions for a young military genius named Napoleon Bonaparte to seize power. While he ended the revolution's democratic experiment, he spread its social and legal reforms across Europe through his conquests. The French Revolution's legacy is complex and far-reaching. It destroyed the old order of divine right, monarchy, and hereditary privilege, replacing it with the principles of citizenship, inalienable rights, and national sovereignty. The Civil Code, established under Napoleon but rooted in revolutionary principles, became a model for legal systems worldwide. The metric system, standardized education, and the modern nation-state all emerged from this period. However, the revolution also demonstrated the potential for idealistic movements to descend into violence and dictatorship. The pattern of revolution, terror, and military dictatorship would be repeated in many later political upheavals. The tension between liberty and security, individual rights and collective needs, remains as relevant today as it was in 1789. The revolution's influence extended far beyond France's borders. Latin American independence movements, the European revolutions of 1848, and even modern democratic movements all draw inspiration from the French example. The very language of politics was transformed. Left and right, citizens and patriots, revolution and reaction, all entered our political vocabulary through this period. Perhaps most importantly, the French Revolution showed that political and social systems, no matter how ancient or seemingly permanent, can be changed by human action. It demonstrated that ideas have power, that ordinary people can reshape their world, and that the price of such transformation can be terrifyingly high. Today, as we face our own period of rapid social change and political upheaval, the lessons of the French Revolution remain relevant. The challenge of balancing liberty with order, of achieving justice without descending into vengeance, of creating new institutions while preserving social stability, these are questions that still confront us. The French Revolution reminds us that the path to progress is rarely straight or peaceful. It shows us both the inspiring heights of human aspiration and the darker depths of human nature. As we continue to grapple with questions of democracy, equality, and justice, the echo of the revolution's famous cry, liberty, equality, fraternity, still resonates, challenging us to build a better world while learning from the mistakes of the past.